This tutorial is going to be covering Blender 5.2 LTS mainly, but I'm going to take you through a journey of Blender 4 to Blender 5.2 and all of the different interface changes. You've probably already heard about EV Next, Vulkan support, and GPU compositing, but there's a different side of Blender that most people don't cover in their tutorials, and that's going to be the interface, those quality of life hacks, and those different things that are going to truly expedite your workflow. I'm Mr. Steve, and we're going to cover this today. Let's jump right in. In Blender 5.2 on the right here, you can see my aspect ratio is different. There's a reason for that. It was very easy to change. And if we go into the output properties and go to the XY resolution and right click, we can swap dimensions between, say, a standard YouTube format for a long, or we can do a YouTube short style. So it goes from 16:9 by 9 by 16, and you can right click. You cannot do that over here in even Blender 4.5. And notably, the volumetrics here and lighting and things just did not pan out as nicely as it did here. This looks like real fog. These are the exact same output and input properties, so everything is going to be the same. It's just a basic 25 samples, and that actually looks a lot better in Blender 5.2. So there's a lot to look forward to, and don't forget you can swap these dimensions in one click. One of the most notable things would be the core transition in Blender 4.2, where we had internet access. Now in old Blender 4, you will see you had to use the manual add-ons, install them, and then go back in and activate them. This became a very tedious task, even though it was a good core system at the time. Now, with the extensions platforms, Blender Kit, and a number of other things, you can actually have your add-ons featured on Blender. Now there's offline fallback for security conscious studios. For offlines, extensions can still be installed manually from the install disk. So in order to really do this tutorial right, we're gonna have to actually jump into Blender 3.6 for just a moment. Now over here, if you accidentally Shift D, whatever, you had a node and you dropped it between an incompatible noodle and two nodes, boom, it's going to separate the node group. That was actually kind of annoying. Now over in Blender 4.2 LTS, well, that doesn't happen anymore. So now if you do that and moving forward all the way to Blender 5.2, it just dims that noodle if you don't have something that's compatible. So you'll see that it was highlighted white before, and now it just doesn't do anything, which is perfect if you're just trying to scoot a node off to the side and it doesn't just break everything and throw it off, which was annoying. Status bar icons, which is actually your status bar down here and a few other areas in Blender, got a nice upgrade with a number of different icons. This list is a lot bigger than it used to be, and I use this in the Serpents add-on creator so that I can actually put icons on my UI in the end panel and show them here. This will be a lot better than having a whole bunch of assets with PNGs, JPEGs, or whatever you can find. Preset themes from Blender 4.2 all the way to 5.3, which is just about out now, and you can save them. So I'll go ahead and add a new theme, and I'll just call this one lines, because it's just going to represent the fact that I want to have my noodles actually lines instead of curved. And so just to make sure, I'll go ahead and save that, and we can go back up. And now I've already saved another one for curved noodles, and so I can switch that and a number of different very important things anytime I want. Go back to Blender Dark, Blender Light, anything I want, curved noodles, and it'll do that for me. And yeah, that's gonna be a lot easier. And yes, you can actually import your preferences now in one click. You can also make Blender the default version. So if you want to open Blender files with this version, you can register it for that for all users, unregister it, and yeah, that's also an open GL or Vulkan switch right here. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about any of that, but you know, it's right there. You just got to restart Blender to try that out. And now you can also hover over for the tooltips for any one of the images you might have opened in your image editor, and you'll get a nice preview of whatever that is. And you would think this next one is hard to do, but it's actually not. So if you happen to have a negative scale in the viewport like this, but it still shows like it's normal. Well, this can actually happen to you. If we come down here to the bottom of the screen, we'll be able to see that there's an actual indication and a warning: active object has a negative scale. Secondarily, if you look in the same area down here while I try to scale this, you'll see transform is set to only affect the location. So under the tool tab here, you'll see that this was the case. You can check it if that's needed. If not, you can turn that off. Now back in good old Blender 3.6 LTS, our timeline and some of the other things will actually not snap like they do now. So you can see this is not a very smooth operation. If we switch over to Blender 5, we'll see that now this is going to have a minimum maximum snap, so you can still see the timeline while you're playing it, and it will have a maximum snap down, so you can still actually play it without seeing it, and it's clean. And as Pablo says, it's subtle but very helpful. And something I wish I had in Blender 3.6, in the object menu, we can go down to the cleanup, and we will now have a remove unused material slots and a remove all materials. So I've got all these extra slots in here that, whatever, somehow they got created. I just want to go to the object menu, do a cleanup, and then remove all of those slots. And if you just want to start over and do a clean wipe on that object, you can remove all materials. I don't know about you, but when I'm finished with my masterpiece, I don't want to lose my work. Let's just say you made another change, you went to go get a cup of coffee, you came back and you said, I saved it, but you didn't. And you go to open something else in the project, it's then going to save your life, and you're going to get this snazzy little dialog box that tells you, hey, you have one modified image. And that's really going to be helpful. Now, this image also will be for sale on my Patreon. On a serious note, this is a real lifesaver. Now Blender went and got a little fancy, so in the timeline playback, if you happen to have everything, and we'll just shift left arrow this, if you have some keyframes and you want to do something different or investigate, you can do a loop for infinite, you can do stop at end frame, stop at start frame, restore frame, and bounce. Most pronounced, we're going to do the bounce. So we're going to click play on this, and what we'll notice is it's going to stop at 108 and go right back. So now you get a nice bounce effect. And if we want to change this, and we'll just say we're going to start at frame 60, we'll go into the playback, go in here, and we want to stop at the start frame. Let's just go ahead and play it now. And you'll notice it will go to 108. And go right back to the start frame, which in this instance is going to be frame 2. Now, if you're trying to investigate something halfway through, you're not going to want to keep resetting it and shift left arrow, so go back to the playback and we'll set this to restore frame. It's going to go back to 50, so when we hit play, it's actually going to reset back to 50 for us. So now you can run this the way you like and see where your animation is either working or not working. And of course, exploring things is fun. I'll let you guys play around with the other ones and check them out in your own time. So now also the old logic of having a split screen like this vertical one previously would have moved together if I added it, but now what we can do is we can hold down shift right next to that and grab it, and it will move everything as one, or we can let go of shift and then we'll be able to split this screen in multiple ways. This merge operator will allow us to turn multiple edges into one edge. And then you can let go of the shift, let go of the mouse, press shift, and move it around. The frame selected has now been introduced as a default for your previous and or next button. So it's actually working for my back button. So if I grab an object and hit the back button, I can frame on selected. It's got the standard operator tied into the key maps by default. So if I've got stuff over here, I'd like to select it, hit the back button, select it, and it's going to cycle through that very cleanly for you. Now, if you go over into the key map, type in frame and scroll down, you'll see that the key map has been tied to frame selected for the period or dot on the numpad, and for the mouse button 4. Of course, you can change this anytime you want just by pressing this and then pressing the button that you would like it to be. Another valuable addition is when you want to create a group with Control G and we tab back out, we can zoom back in on this, and I'll just hit F3 and you can type in ungroup, and the operator is going to ungroup this while maintaining the general structure that you had previously with the nodes. And similarly, the make group operator now avoids type conversion of inputs with multiple connections and avoids duplicate sockets. You can now batch edit interface items, eliminating tedious manual repetition. The basic settings like socket type, label descriptions, and viewport visibility can be edited across all selected inputs simultaneously, regardless of their type. However, nodes still have boundaries, structure types, and domains, and that will only batch edit if the socket types match. While advanced settings like subtypes require them to be identical, don't worry about accidentally selecting output sockets either. Blender is smart to skip them entirely. Workflow improvement that keeps your node spaghetti organized and your production pipeline running smoothly. Holding Alt in Blender 5.2 now batch edits all selected nodes interface items, while basic settings like labels and visibility update universally. Type-specific properties still require matching socket types. It's a massive manual time saver and keeps your production pipeline going. Float, integer, vector, and integer vector sockets now support pixel subtypes. The string node finally got an update that matches the general functionality of strings in Blender in the first place, and this is an absolute game changer. Viewport selection now synchronizes in outliner selection. Screen space ray tracing got an overhaul in Blender 5.2 LTS, and for the viewport, this is before, and this is after. And for Eevee Engine, this is before, and this is after. It does come at a cost though, with breaking changes. The reflection denoiser got some tweaks as well. This is before, and this is after. The ray tracing node now has more precision. This is before, and this is after, and no longer triggers false positives on rays moving towards the camera. Fast GI got a bug fix and is now going to prevent those black halos from appearing around objects. This is before and this is after, much cleaner. Eevee lights now support camera ray visibility. And for a number of other updates that I'm not going to cover here, you'll see the release notes. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can go in and check that out. There's a number of different things in here that you'll be able to see, like pull requests and different things. And as you go through, if you want to check out previous release notes, you'll be able to do that here as well. Key maps and a number of other things are going to be explained here, so you could conceptually just click on anything you want and then go in and see some details about it. Sometimes there will be images as well that are going to explain different things so you can understand what the change was for. Now, if you stay to the end, I really appreciate that because I have a little surprise for you. The Mesh Bevel node has been released. Thank you, Howard and Blender and everybody. I could just give you a big hug. This is amazing. So what I did is I just went into geometry nodes with a basic cube and I threw the Mesh Bevel node on. You can get that, just a simple Shift A, and we're going to just type in Mesh B and you'll see Mesh Bevel right there. It's a nice node. It takes a profile, shape, segments, I mean everything you would see, plus some really interesting transforms like the start left offset. So, I mean, there's some really wild geometrically some possibilities are out there now. It's passing out. We are returning the vertex face, the edge, the outer edge, and the mid edge. This is going to be pretty cool. You'll be able to do some different things. I think you'll be able to do some shading tricks there as well as possibly selection. But anyhow, you have a selection socket here. And so I just tied this to a transform with an empty object, and then I put a boolean on the object here as well. So you can kind of change the miter and everything, and how this ends up looking is really cool. And I just went over and grabbed a auto smooth for this so I can kind of implement this right here in a simple manner. So the mesh boolean inside is going to look good too. So we'll just tag that in right there. And I don't have my edge angle set to 30. And I need this boolean to be true, and voila. So you can always do that. You can just add your auto smooth to that and then run over, make that the active object. Make sure you're not pinned. Pull all these group inputs out and just see what was actually true and what wasn't. And then go back over here and copy paste that sucker right in. Make it nice and easy for you. So now we've got a nice auto smooth boolean. I mean, this is crazy. So what you can do with this is effectively limitless, and it's going to change all of the tools that are out there completely. And it might even do away with the majority of them when you come up with your own node groups / tools. Anyways, I really appreciate everybody being here. It means everything. Go ahead and smash that like, smash that subscribe. And I'm not going to do like a big product plug, but if you guys don't mind, go over and check out my Blender Market. My collab buddy Sam and I, we love to go over, collabing with each other and different things, and go over all the different problems people are having out there and make add-ons to address them to enhance your workflow. So that really supports me and gives me the, the extra boost, if you will, financially, so that I can keep doing what I'm doing and put this much time into it. Sometimes I do put in 18-hour days to make that happen. So thanks, everybody. Go check out the Cracks add-on, the render switch, the gift maker, and all those different things that my collab buddy and I have really worked hard on. Thanks for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next one.